Hey everybody, this is Tristan Hathaway, one of the hosts of the Pro Wrestling Almanac podcast. Just wanted to thank y'all for listening and introduce you to one of our great sponsors.
When you're planning for an anniversary, wedding reception, or the next WWE pay-per-view, Mayor's Smokehouse Barbecue Catering has you covered. Slow smoked barbecue from pork ribs, pulled pork, tri-tip, chicken wings, and more, plus a variety of sides. Mayor's Smokehouse Barbecue Catering is based out of Norco, California, serving the Inland Empire. Go to the website, mayorsbbq.com, Mayersbbq, and on Facebook at Mayor's Smokehouse Barbecue. At Mayor's Smokehouse Barbecue, it's barbecue smoked to perfection.
The Pro Wrestling Almanac podcast. Celebrating professional wrestling from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. For wrestling fans, by wrestling fans.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to episode 6 of the Pro Wrestling Almanac podcast. First, I would like to thank everyone who tuned in last week to the show to make it the most successful show yet. On tonight's episode, we are going to discuss the more negative news coming out of Global Force Wrestling, Asuka joining the Raw Women's roster, The Miz having another star-making moment, Cena and Reigns talking their way to No Mercy, and Kevin Owens' insanity. This week's Ghost segment is going to focus on the Mae Young Classic and our In the Spotlight segment featuring Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling. But first, folks, the Wrestling Results Roundup.
The Wrestling Results Roundup. Here are the results of this week's televised shows. On NXT, Andrade Cien Almas beat Cesar Bonini, Lars Sullivan beat Jake James, Alfred Watkins, and Ricky Martinez in a 3-on-1 handicap match. Sonya Deville beat Zeta, and Cassius Ohno beat Hideo Itami in a no disqualification match. On Lucha Underground, Drago beat The Mac, Cortez Castro beat Joey Ryan in a 5-0 street fight to win a Gift of the Gods Aztec medallion, and Matanzo Cueto beat the Rabbit Tribe, Paul London, Saltador, and Mala Suerte in a 3-on-1 handicap match. On GFW Impact Wrestling, X-Division champion Sanjay Dutt and Petey Williams beat Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley. Knockouts champion Sienna and Taryn Terrell beat Gail Kim and Ali. El Hijo del Fantasma and Pagano beat Impact Grand Champion Ethan Carter III and Eddie Edwards. And Global Champion Eli Drake beat Matt Sydal. On WWE Main Event, Mustafa Ali and Lince Dorado beat TJP and The Brian Kendrick, and Elias beat Kalisto. On Ring of Honor TV, Will Ferreira beat Cheeseburger, Silas Young beat Chase Brown, and Search and Destroy, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, Jay White, and Jonathan Gresham beat the Bullet Club, Matt and Nick Jackson, and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. On WWE Raw, Roman Reigns beat Jason Jordan, Sasha Banks beat Emma, Bray Wyatt beat Goldust, Elias beat Kalisto, John Cena beat Braun Strowman via disqualification, Enzo Amore beat Intercontinental Champion The Miz by disqualification, and Raw Tag Team Champions Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose and the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, beat Sheamus, Cesaro, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows. On WWE SmackDown Live, United States Champion AJ Styles beat Ty Dillinger. The New Day, Big E, and Kofi Kingston beat the Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, in a Sin City street fight to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. SmackDown Women's Champion Natalya beat Naomi, and Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable beat the Hype Bros, Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley. On the finals of the Mae Young Classic, Kairi Sane beat Shayna Baszler to win the Mae Young Classic tournament. On WWE 205 Live, Rich Swann beat TJP, and Cedric Alexander beat the Brian Kendrick by disqualification. And that's all for this week's Wrestling Results Roundup.
A lot has been going on in the world of wrestling, but before we get into the news segment, we would like to make an announcement regarding one of the indie promotions that we have featured on our Indie Spotlight segment. Lucha Libre and Laughs returns to Ratio Beer Works for a free show on Sunday, September 17th at 2920 Larimore Street, Denver, Colorado. Local pro wrestler Nanny AC, Amanda Cole, broke her collarbone during a match, and being tough as heck, still finished the fight. But collarbone surgery isn't cheap, so they are having one heck of a fundraiser to help her out with the bills. Fan favorites such as Ali Gatto, Cody Devine, The Miracle That Is Tony, Cormac Battle, Xander Creed, and more will battle it out, while comedians Nathan Lunn and Ian Douglas Terry provide hilarious commentary. Cash donations and profits from Lucha Libre and Laugh shirt sales will go to a great cause. All right, guys, let's get into the wrestling news. I'm Mike, and with me, as always, is Chad and the Almanac Tristan. How you guys doing this week?
Pretty good. A little tired today, so I might be quieter than usual.
It's doubtful.
Quiet you.
No, he had a long day.
I had a long couple days.
It's also Tristan.
Yeah,
nothing can shut the man up.
But I was in Vegas yesterday for the WWE. It was a marathon of a show. It was a 4-hour show. We got there at about 1 in the afternoon so we could try to meet people. And we were there until, I don't think we left until about 10. When did I call you, Mike? At about 10 o'clock? 9:30?
Just a little after that, but yeah. It was right after 205 Live. Probably about a half hour after that.
Yeah.
You gave me a call and said you were on your way back.
Yeah, we had gone out and got some autographs and stuff, and then I've been trying to get the website caught up all day, and finally got a formal offer on that job. It's pretty good.
Good.
It was a good offer.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Real quick, before we get any further, how did Katie enjoy her first live show?
Dude, she loved it.
Nice.
Yes. She was very unhappy that Naomi lost, but she was very happy that the New Day won, so I think it kind of balanced out.
What was her favorite part of the entire evening?
Well, I don't know. She really liked the New Day. I think her favorite part was the dark match with Nakamura. She got to see Nakamura, and she was really excited about that.
So who was the whole dark match?
It was Nakamura and Randy Orton against Jinder Mahal and Baron Corbin.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
And who won?
Nakamura and Orton. Got to send the fans home happy. Got to see a Kinshasa and an RKO out of nowhere. It was pretty great.
And that, you know what? That entrance, when you see it live, it is just, it's something.
Yeah, it's something else, for sure.
His, Bobby Roode's entrance. The one that I haven't seen yet, I'm hoping to see it if we can get tickets to No Mercy, is Finn Balor's entrance.
Yeah.
That's one I really want to see. I'd also like to see Bray Wyatt's. I mean, it's just the whole with the crowd interaction. It's unique. So
I've seen that one. That was really awesome.
Yeah.
Is it?
Chad was
I
lucky enough to be like second row at Battleground a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Really?
Seeing Adam Rose and the
Rosebuds
and the Rosebuds dancing around the ring.
Nice.
I mean, the front row was passing around Jerry Lawler's crown. That was pretty neat. And then one time, I think I think it was a Raw that Tristan and I went to, or no, it was a Raw before that where I had in Tampa. I had suite seats, and The Rock was there, and seeing The Rock come out, that was pretty cool because that was.
I thought that was after we went because that was when you were working for the car dealership, right?
No, the car dealership was when I went to Battleground.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the pet shop with Mike and everybody.
Yeah, that was definitely before.
That was before you moved down.
Yeah.
And we saw The Rock in Tampa.
That's tight.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, let's get into the first topic of the evening. The cluster, that has become Global Force Wrestling. I mean, it just literally for a company that's
why are you holding back and being nice about what you're saying?
We might have kids listening.
Yeah, sure, but I'm just going to come out and say it. They're a shitstorm.
Well, I mean, yeah, they literally the left hand does not know what the right hand is doing over there right now.
That sounds like my everyday life.
Chad has nerve problems.
For a company that says that they're in this thing for the long haul, this accidental launch of
why don't you just break it down instead of just jumping right in the middle of it? Why don't you actually break it down and tell everybody what happened?
Okay, so they teased it on an episode of Impact Wrestling on August 31st that once again, Anthem was going to be in it for the long haul, and this was after a report hit saying that they were looking to sell Global Force Wrestling and get out of the wrestling business. They were going to start their own network similar to the WWE's network that they have.
It's an over-the-top network, which means it's going to have live streaming programming as well as on demand.
And they're saying that it's supposed to be for Android and iOS, but they don't have anything set up for Roku, Xbox, or the Fire TV apps yet. That's supposed to come. But yesterday, the network went live on accident. The developers were, this is according to the PW Insider, the developers were tweaking the infrastructure, and it wasn't intended to be accessed to the public, but fans discovered, because, I mean, a lot of people, they like to just go and see what's going on and if websites are up or not. And they found out that it was up, and they were able to upload content free of charge. And then once the Anthem executives learned of this, they shut the site down. But yeah, it's been crazy. So, I mean, what is your guys' take on everything that's going on right now?
Well, first off, it doesn't seem like they're putting it out on PS4, which kind of bothers me.
Yeah, well, that'll come.
But I mean, what good is that for me?
You have a computer. You have a computer. You'll be fine.
You got an Android or an iPhone?
Yeah, but then I'm watching it on my phone. So
were you actually planning on getting it?
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely not.
So
and stop complaining.
Quit your bitching. My thought is that this just shows what. I mean, okay. This isn't something that's unheard of. Things like this happen all the time. What did they just find out? Like some WWE database that had the information of like millions of people was not even password protected. It was on an Amazon server or something. And that was a couple of months ago. So it's the same thing. I'm a web designer. I can tell you that I sometimes make changes to the live site before they're ready to be made. Instead of uploading to my testing server, I accidentally upload to the live server, and so people see things that might not be ready to be seen. So it's not unforgivable. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. Once they found out about it, they locked it down.
Yeah, it just seems, they seem like they've never had their act together back from when it was TNA to Impact to now GFW. So who knows?
The last year's been rough.
It has been rough. And, as a wrestling fan, you don't want to see another promotion go out of business because the jobs that are involved with that, everybody from not just the wrestlers, but the people working, setting up the ring crew, you want them to succeed.
Not even that. Even like as a wrestling fan, I want wrestling. I want to be able and despite all of their shortcomings, and they have many, match quality typically isn't one of them. They've got some really strong performers that put on very good matches, and I want to continue to see that. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I was not a person who really watched TNA or Global Force until we really started getting into this podcast. Yeah. And now I watch it every week. I watch Impact and I watch Explosion, and I enjoy the shows. I think they've got solid storylines. I think that they've got great matches and good talent. They're bringing in a lot of people. They're pushing people that are, deserving to be pushed. Like their world champion right now is Eli Drake, who is a really solid hand. And, it's be very easy for them to keep relying on the Bobby Lashley's, Matt Sydal, El Patron, Johnny Impact, John Morrison, to carry the company. But they're putting their trust behind somebody who has been putting in the hours. And I like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, well, let's hope they get their act together, but we're going to now transfer out of that, and we're going to start talking about the WWE. First topic, Asuka is going to be going to the Raw roster. Wrestling Observer has stated that the original feelings were that the female division on Raw needs to be strengthened more than the SmackDown depth. And so they're saying that Asuka should be making her debut at some point in October. What do you guys think?
Well, I guess if she's healthy, then I have no problem with that. But I'd hate for her to rush it and not be healthy. I don't think the docs and WWE would help or would hinder that. But I also think that it could be that she doesn't get into in-ring competition until much later than October.
Well, I mean, she was looking at a 5-week recovery time from the broken collarbone.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah. So I think I think she's going to be good there. I do think that you're right. I mean, it's probably at least going to be a couple of weeks. I think they might do like they did with Nakamura and have her debut on pay-per-view.
Probably. I mean, I still think, she was originally destined to go to Raw. And you and I talked about this before, Tristan, that after that promo came out for No Mercy with Alexa Bliss, I mean, that commercial that came out, we both thought she was going to be going to the Raw brand. So, I mean, whether or
to
not
face Alexa Bliss at No Mercy.
Yeah, exactly. So, whether or not, they're having to push back. I always thought that her debut was already a done deal. They just used the collarbone injury as the way to get her to relinquish the title easier, and it's just pushing things back. But when we saw that commercial for No Mercy with Alexa, you and I both were texting each other going, she's going to Raw. So
the way that they did the announcement on NXT this past week, they never mentioned her collarbone. They mentioned that they did the whole thing with William Regal saying that he and Asuka were doing negotiations with the general managers of both brands, and she was forfeiting the title because she didn't want to basically hold it hostage. They never mentioned the injury. So it's entirely possible that this was the plan all along.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It'll be interesting to see where they go, and who knows? Maybe the injury isn't as bad as they say, and they're just using this to kind of throw everybody off, and she might debut even sooner. I mean, remember, they said Strowman was going to be out for, 6 to 8 weeks?
6 months.
That's right, 6 months. And, I mean, he was back very quickly.
And I mean, probably the most famous one was John Cena from his torn pectoral. He's on the Tonight Show. Yeah, I'm probably going to be out another 6 months. Shows up at the Royal Rumble on Sunday.
Yeah, well, I mean, that... we'll talk about him later, but that man, when it comes to recovery and everything, is just a freak of nature. So, but you guys excited that she's going to Raw, or would you rather have seen her go to SmackDown?
I think it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I think the competition level, granted, I think the SmackDown Women's roster gets used better, but I think there's an equal level of talent on both shows. They split it up pretty well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Chad?
No, I agree with Tristan. I mean, either way, it would be good. I mean, I would love to see Asuka versus Charlotte.
We will.
Eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're not going to stay on separate brands for forever. So, I mean, definitely, I think Raw would fit her much better. Plus, it'll bring a little bit more people to watch Raw.
Yeah, which they need because of the 3 hours. I mean, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Other than her last match in NXT with Ember Moon, the toughest match she has ever had against any opponent she has faced so far was the match she had against Nia Jax.
Yep.
And so having Nia Jax on the Raw roster, possibly going to win the title at No Mercy, depending on how that four-way goes, I think it's a better fit for her right now. We'll see what they do storyline-wise, but I'm just glad to see her finally up onto the main roster. So, all right, guys.
I just hope that they can maintain her.
They'd be crazy not to.
Yeah, but we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Excuse me. The benefit of her being on NXT was that there was that revolving cadre of women. They could bring people in from the outside for shows, like they did originally with Mickie James before they signed her back. And they had people that she could face, and then they would move up. People moved up around her because she was so dominant, and they wanted to keep her on NXT. In the WWE, she's likely not going to have that.
As crazy as this sounds, and you would probably know more about the whole workings of this than Chad and I would, but I've always thought, especially with Raw being at 3 hours, and it doesn't look like they're going to be going any shorter than that for the foreseeable future. What about bringing another title in for the women and increase the women's roster? I mean, maybe the women's version of an IC title, or even bring in a women's tag team championship. Let Asuka just go on a run with the women's, title, and then you still have something else for the other women until they finally get to that point where they have someone to beat her.
I think that's a bad idea.
With that, I would say that I think that a good idea would be a women's tag division. Just like I also think the 6-man tag belts would be a cool thing in WWE. But I also don't think, for one, the men's tag division is what it used to be. Or is held to as high as standards. But I think...
Hang on. Compared to when? Because it's probably the strongest it's been in the last 15 years.
Oh, I was gonna say back like Road Dogg and Billy Gunn.
Yeah, late 90s. Hardys, Edge and Christian, Dudleys. Yeah. Nobody's denying that. But it's the strongest that it's been since then.
No, I'll give you that. But there was a point in time where it's been dead.
Yeah.
And it's slowly getting back up.
Right.
But back to Asuka's, I think it would be cool to definitely bring in some kind of competition for the other women, because I think a women's tag division would be great. But I mean, even make it so Asuka, if she does completely dominate the Raw roster, wins the championship, what's to say that she can't go over to SmackDown, run through that roster, and hold both titles until someone's good enough and she defends on both or for both shows.
I think that would also be a terrible idea because they're really trying to perpetuate this brand extension, and by just having her being able to just jump over to SmackDown just because there's no more competition. They could do that, but they would have to do it like a superstar shakeup or something like that. I just don't see that happening with her. The reason that I said that a women's tag title, a women's secondary title would be a bad idea. First of all, let me caveat that by saying that the only way it wouldn't be a bad idea is if it was a television title. But the reason I say that it's a bad idea is because, one, they can hardly book the division that they have as it is. And two, not 3-4 weeks ago, we were complaining about the fact that they had too many titles, that they couldn't even put all of the titles on the SummerSlam main card. And here we are talking about adding more. So which is
the
it?
Point there.
Yeah, no. And like I said, I was just breaching the topic for the conversation aspect of it. It'll be interesting to see what they do, especially with all of the talent that they're going to pick up possibly from the Mae Young Classic.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you're going to be looking at the deepest women's rosters in the history of this company.
Oh, without question.
I mean, this is a true renaissance right now of the women's wrestling in WWE. Probably have not had this good of a women's roster since you had Trish, Lita, Victoria, Molly Holly.
Still doesn't touch it.
Definitely.
No.
So,
still doesn't touch it.
The one thing I will say, and the problem with having a too large of a women's division is just like what we have the problem with the main. I mean, way back when in the main card, there was so much great talent. You had to have the Raw brand and you have to have the SmackDown brand, which they got to that again because so everybody gets a little bit of television time. You got all this great talent up in the main roster. You have to have two different shows because if not, certain people steal the spotlight. So the Mae Young Classic was phenomenal. We'll get into that later. But if you have too much talent, what do you do with all that extra talent?
Well, I mean, there's been rumors of a women's show for quite a while.
I would love to see that personally.
But that would be great. But at the same time, if we're trying to make women wrestling, why take it off of the show with the guys?
No, you don't take it off the show. The cruiserweights are still on the show.
Exactly.
They just have their own show as a showcase.
Do what they do with 205 Live. So just after Raw, broadcast the women's show on the network, and you have multiple women's matches during that time period. I mean, I would love to see that. I know my daughter would love to see that, and probably your daughter too. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, we're going to get on to our next topic. The Miz had a major announcement this week. Yep. Maurice is pregnant.
Yep. Now, I wanted to bring up that segment not because of the pregnancy announcement. And I mean, congratulations.
First of all, exactly. Congratulations.
Yeah, definitely.
Hope for a very healthy pregnancy.
Yes. But the reason that I wanted to bring it up was a lot of people really dumped on the segment, and I think it wasn't necessarily the segment as much as it was the match. But I thought that The Miz had another star-making moment with his exchanges with Enzo. He definitely got the better of Enzo. Enzo he had to rely on his catchphrases and everything like that in order to get a pop, and The Miz beat him down verbally. And I thought it was great.
Oh, and Miz is great at doing that, too.
Yeah, the only thing that bothered me about the entire segment was it's kind of ironic, especially after everything that happened between The Miz and Maurice, making fun of John Cena and Nikki Bella about the whole putting your lives out there in public, and just making fun of all of that, for him to do the exact same thing. And in a way, the way he started off that segment, I originally started thinking that he was going to turn baby. The way he started talking, he's announcing this as a heel, but the way he broke into the segment was like a baby face. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of just a little weird for me watching it that way at the beginning, but it's what do you guys think?
I think very little about that segment was The Miz a heel until he and the Miztourage just beat down Enzo.
Yeah. Chad?
I mean, I agree with you, Mike, especially with them coming out into public and after bashing Cena and Nikki about all everything's in public eye with total divas or total Bellas now, and then to come out with something like this, I understand it's a proud moment. If he was face, I can understand them coming out with it. I just don't know. It didn't make sense to me why they would come out and announce on live TV why they were having a kid.
Reality era.
There's that, go. But it's also kind of, as crazy as it sounds, it is a heel move. I mean, you trash someone for doing something, and then you turn around and do the exact same thing.
Yeah, nobody remembered that, though.
I know. It's just, it was a weird segment for me starting off, but yeah, the whole ending with Enzo, Miz did a great job, and day in and day out, that guy is definitely the workhorse for the WWE. The man never cuts a bad promo, puts on good matches.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always enjoyed watching him. So
I haven't always enjoyed watching him, but I've definitely lately enjoyed watching him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been watching him since he was on The Real World, and then when he was doing the Road Rules Real World challenges and the Gauntlet. So I mean, I've seen him for a while, and we're both Cleveland Browns fans. So I mean, it's tough. But
I mean, yeah, dude, you totally let our audience in on your intelligence level when you said you watched the Real World Road Rules Challenge, and then if there was any doubt, then you sealed it with being a Cleveland Browns fan.
Well, come on, how long ago was that? We're talking at least 15 years ago when that was on. So
yeah.
We were younger back then. We watched stupid shit when there was nothing else to watch.
But you still admitted to watching the Browns.
Yeah, so?
You mean you still watch the Browns?
Hey, you know what? It could be worse. I could be that sideline reporter for ESPN.
Oh, my God.
Okay, we'll talk about that one offline, guys.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea what you're talking about, and I want to know.
Oh, yeah. It was a very, very fun moment. So
Moving on.
Cena Reigns. These two are just at a war of words.
And that's all they're doing, and I love it.
Well, exactly. It's you don't need to get physical to sell this match. Well,
besides the fact that they've already got one that's being completely driven by physicality.
Oh, definitely. I mean, when Chad, we talked about it earlier. Go ahead, say what you were going to say from when we were talking earlier about this promo.
Well, the best line I've heard in a long time was when Cena made the "you have to go through me like you go through a drug test," and that's just not going to happen. I just completely said, Can they do that? I mean, that's just messed up.
when I heard that line, the first thing that went through my head was, damn it, I should have bought tickets to the show in Anaheim. I mean, that crowd went crazy with that line. I mean, Cena has been getting the upper hand pretty much on all of the promos. I don't know how they are going to book this match. I don't. I don't see Cena going over, but I also can't see Reigns going over.
Okay.
Go ahead,
let me tell you how I think they're going to book this match. I think it's going to be a typical John Cena match where his opponent gets the better of him for most of the match, except for the end, where he is not going to come back. Yeah, no, we're not going to see Super Cena. I think Reigns is going to just handle him the entire match.
So do you think this is where we're finally possibly going to see Reigns turn heel?
Well, no, because can you really say he's not a heel already?
He's kind of a tweener.
Well, yeah. So I don't understand why he would need to turn when he's been behaving like a heel the entire time. So, and I mean, like the entire time. Since, probably since he won the Royal Rumble. And so I just think that we're going to see Reigns get the better of Cena in this match, and Cena might squeak out a win, but it's going to be like when he faced Brock Lesnar the first time and when Lesnar came back, where Reigns is just going to smash him. I think think it's going to be fairly one-sided, and it's going to be the physical equivalent of what Cena has been doing to Reigns verbally.
You think if Cena squeaks this out, do you think we'll see Cena use a less than normal John Cena way of pulling out that win, possibly cheat to win?
No, I don't.
Okay.
John Cena doesn't need to, like last week how I said, Brock, at the end of the day, Brock Lesnar will always be Brock Lesnar. John Cena will always be John Cena. So at the end of the day, if John Cena can throw on an AA and catch a quick 1, 2, 3. Now, that's not to say that it won't be something along the lines of Reigns getting his feet on the ropes or something to that effect. But okay. I don't think it'll be anything shady on the Cena part.
The reason I asked that, and I'm just thinking, I'm playing chess on this one. I'm thinking later on down the road, with this supposedly going to be Cena's last match, possibly for the entire year, because he's going to be out filming. Yep. If he was to do something like that, steal a win, and then disappear, I mean, that gives Reigns a lot of material where he could eventually set up a rematch later on down the line at possibly a Royal Rumble, saying, hey, you know what, you cheated to win and then you ran, I'm still here, this is my yard, you're nothing.
They don't need him cheating to do that though. This entire match was predicated on the fact that both guys think that they're better than the other, which is wonderful because you don't see that very often. There's always got to be some convoluted, you hit on my wife, you spilled coffee on my favorite jacket, you ran over my dog, whatever. There always has to be some convoluted reason, and that's okay, I mean, let's be real here. Wrestling's stupid. It's supposed to be dumb. It's dumb. Oh, yeah. It's dumb, stupid, brainless fun. The storyline aspect of it. The matches are, some of the matches are stupid. Kennel from Hell. But there's no reason why it can't just be a situation where I know I can beat you. Like Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. I know I can beat you. And then Cena's like, I don't have anything to prove. I'm not going to face you. And then Reigns starts doing things to bait Cena into a match, or vice versa. And that's a perfect way to set up for a WrestleMania match between the two.
Definitely.
Well, they already did that with Rock Cena too, where Cena just went through that dry spell where he didn't win a match for an entire year.
Mm-hmm. And then he, won the Royal Rumble. And to face The Rock at WrestleMania. He didn't get baited into the match. He won the Royal Rumble.
Well, no, I'm just saying I'm just saying the same kind of thing happened where just like you were saying with the Shawn Michaels things where I know I can beat you, and it was Cena saying I know I can beat you, but he went through a tough time where he even said it in one of the promos. All I thought about was how I lost to you, and I just kept losing all my matches because that's all I was focused on.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about literally Reigns costing him matches to get a win. Reigns isn't going through a dry spell or anything like that, or vice versa.
Right.
It's one of them baiting the other into a match so they can get their win back. And, to be honest, I always talk about, the logical conclusion of the match. I think Reigns needs to win this match, and I think Reigns needs to win whatever rematch they have. Plain and simple. Cena's on his way out. He's becoming a part-timer, admittedly. And I just think that that Cena needs to give the reins over to Reigns. No, I promise no pun intended when I started that.
In all fairness, if it were anybody other than Roman Reigns.
Right. Now let me ask you a question. Why?
Well, for one, like we've been talking about, Cena has been verbally manhandling.
Mm-hmm. That's all recent. Why has Reigns been getting booed for 3 years now? 2 years? Why?
Because why has Reigns been getting booed for the last 3 years?
Why? Because he hasn't been getting booed for the last 3 years. He's been getting booed since he won the Royal Rumble. Really. And do you know why?
And we already discussed that, how having Daniel Bryan come out. That's the reason right there.
Yes, Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan is the reason why Roman Reigns to this day is continued to getting booed. And it's not everybody that's booing Roman Reigns. It's the smarks, it's the internet wrestling community. Yep. And like we've said, you listen when the WWE is not dropping the mic level down to cover the boos. When his music hits, there is a noticeably different pitch in the cheers.
Reigns is popular. Reigns is a star. Period.
But now, I guess the better question would be is if Daniel Bryan was still wrestling, would Roman Reigns even be a thought as being number one?
Yes. Daniel Bryan showed up at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title.
And was planning on continuing to wrestle.
Yeah, remember when he went out, it had nothing to after winning the world title, it had nothing to do with his concussions and everything to do with his shoulder.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get off of Raw. We're going to move over to SmackDown. Tristan, yeah, I know, SmackDown. Tristan, you were there in the crowd. Kevin Owens just lost it. Vince makes his first appearance on SmackDown in over 4 years. The chairman comes back, gets in the ring with KO. They start talking, and then just KO.
So I don't know how it picked up on TV, but when Kevin Owens said, "So you're not going to fire me for beating the hell out of the McMahon," you could hear in the arena the inhale. You could hear it.
Yeah, you couldn't pick that up on television.
Everybody was just like, uh-oh. And But no, I don't think anybody saw the headbutt and bloody Vince and all of that.
Vince took it hard. I mean, he got cut the hard way. I'll tell you this from just watching it on TV, the segment, the beating portion came out really well. There was part of Vince's promo where at first I'm listening to his promo and I'm like, okay, I see where you're going. And then Vince starts talking about the legal system, though, and how the legal system is designed for guys like him.
Yep.
And he's going to bankrupt KO. And then part of me is going, you know what? Vince deserves to get his ass kicked right now.
Well, I think that's kind of what they were going for. That they remember that the best bad guy feels justified in his actions.
No, definitely. I loved it. We already called a Kevin Owens.
That was definitely
Shane McMahon. Yeah, we knew it was coming at Hell in a Cell. I did not see this happen.
No, I didn't either. I mean, I did right before it happened, like I said, but I mean, and they played it so well to where it could have happened, but if it didn't happen, it didn't have to happen. You know what I mean?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Really quick, and then we'll get Chad's take on this. That closed out SmackDown.
Yes.
Now, did they go straight in to the Mae Young, or what happened right after they went off of the air?
You know, I honestly don't know where they went off the air at. Did you see Stephanie come out?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Stephanie came out.
So that was pretty much it. They helped Vince up the ramp. He didn't get... Let me ask you a question, because I haven't watched it on TV. The bald-headed dude in the ring, was that Joey Mercury, or who was that?
I don't know. It wasn't Joey Mercury.
The guy that dipped out when Kevin Owens came off the top rope?
Yeah, no, it wasn't Joey Mercury. At least it did. I was trying to figure out who the hell it was.
Yeah, I had no idea. So they helped Vince up the ramp.
But it wasn't.
Yeah, they helped Vince up the ramp. The crowd applauded for him. And then once they got backstage, the ring crew was already working while they were helping him up the ramp. I have no idea where they went off the air.
They went off the air with Stephanie coming out, yelling at KO. She goes down to Vince.
Yep.
Says, "Dad, they got the stretcher. Let's get you on that." And he goes, "No, I'm fine."
We got none of that. We couldn't hear any of that.
Yeah, and then they show KO standing at the top of the ramp. And that's when they cut off.
Yeah, okay. So. One quick note. Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler owned that entire crowd.
What was you know what? I know this has kind of been a long news segment, though, but what is going on with Dolph?
I don't know. But, and I mean, I'm going to breeze right through this. Everybody thought Shane was coming out. Everybody, myself included. Katie was jumping up and down. It was well into the entrance, like him doing the moves and everything before the crowd realized it wasn't him.
Yeah.
So, just the Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler owned that crowd.
Okay, Chad, what was your take on KO going after Vince?
The only thing that I think that this might start to do is, for one, that headbutt was gnarly. I mean, it was just played out well. I mean, when I saw the headbutt, I was just like, I think he actually headbutted him.
Of course he did.
Like, legitimate. I mean, because it didn't look like it looked like a hard headbutt. But what I think might be going on, and I don't know how they're going to play this out, but I think Kevin Owens has a way to do it. And it could almost play out as one of those Steve Austin versus the McMahons kind of time frame. Because KO's got that ability to be, everybody loves him, but everybody hates him all at the same time. And the problem is Shane McMahon's a good guy. Vince McMahon, I don't even know if what he's considered anymore because he's so few and far between on the shows. But everybody hates Stephanie. So I think that would be a good time. And Kevin Owens, I think, would be a great person to be almost like Stone Cold of this era. And sticking it to the man, for lack of a better term. What do you guys think about that?
I think that they need to stay away from it, as far away from something like that as possible. It's been ever since the NWO and the Austin McMahon feud, they've felt the need to have some sort of wrestler versus authority figure angle going on at all times. I think they need to get away from it.
No, I agree with Tristan. It does, it gets old after a while. I just would prefer to see what we see in NXT.
Plus, Ambrose was the guy to do it with if they were going to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I kind of like where they have KO right now. Kind of that almost spoiled, whiny, I deserve everything. Yep. I mean, he's acting like a millennial. But he's a millennial who can kick ass. So, I mean, I like where they're going with them. I don't think they need to go the Stone Cold route. They're going to have a good match, I think, at Hell in a Cell. So
an entertaining match.
It'll be entertaining. KO's going to have to carry the show. Shane will, of course, have a high spot. Really quick, last thing. So that kind of wraps up the news. Tristan, what was up with that Jinder Mahal promo?
Okay, so from the way I took the Jinder Mahal promo, it was the entire making fun of Nakamura segment was supposed to be done tongue-in-cheek, because at the end of the promo, he said, so you think that's funny? Do you see, Shinsuke, this is how they will treat you because your skin is different, your eyes are different. So it was like bad on purpose, and I mean, maybe being in the arena, I took it in a little more than people would on TV. I definitely took in the entire thing. And I think maybe by that point, a lot of people had already tuned it out.
Okay, yeah, because, I mean, coming on TV, it did not come off as a good promo.
No, I can see that. It wasn't a good promo until it was, if you know what I mean. Until that moment when he let in on, okay, well, this is what I'm really doing.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's it for the news this week. We'll have more coming up next week when we find out what's going on in the world of wrestling. But, folks, at this time, go ahead, check out our website, ProWrestlingAlmanac.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PWAlmanac and on Facebook at Pro Wrestling Almanac. And now it's time for the Ghost of Wrestling Past.
Are you the spirit whose coming was foretold?
I am.
Who? What are you?
I'm the ghost of
Wrestling's
past.
Okay, so as we said last week...
Whoa, guys. We got some serious breaking news, all right?
Okay.
Randy Orton just beat the United States champion AJ Styles.
What?
At Mario Kart on the Nintendo Switch, and you can ask Xavier Woods because he was a witness.
Oh, jeez.
I think that's huge.
For the love of God.
Why do we let you say things, Chad? Who taught you to read? I want to know this. I want to know who taught you to read so we can punish them.
Well, you weren't around. All right?
I know.
I blame you.
Here it is. I think you're telling us that the title changed hands at a house show, and I'm listening to Mario Kart results.
Well, hey, at least it wasn't on like N64 or Super NES. It was at least on the Switch.
That's true.
Oh, goodness. All right.
Cheap plug.
So, and I don't even get any money for that. The Nintendo Switch, everybody. Ting.
Would be nice.
That was my tooth sparkling. That ting.
I think we should all get a free Nintendo Switch for that.
I'm with it. You hear that, Nintendo? Cheap plug equals free Nintendo Switch. We'll make sure to tag them in our Instagram post this
Before
week.
we go, though, I just started looking at what Chow was talking about. Now, AJ Styles is posting why he lost and is giving like a running commentary on this whole thing. So, oh boy.
I'm ready to quit this whole thing, you guys. I'm just ready to just leave. I've had a long day, and y'all are talking about Nintendo.
Oh, wait, in all fairness, I give AJ Styles credit on this one. He was playing with a Joy-Con, not the full controller, okay? And he just got the game, so he didn't have to upgrade his cart. So, I mean, I think Orton's got a leg up on this one.
All right, Tristan.
Are we done?
I think we're done.
Okay. Can we be adults and talk about wrestling, please?
Well, this is wrestling related. And Orton just called him out complete bullshit. And he just called bullshit on him. I mean, this is live right now.
So's this. Well, live to tape
how was
anyway.
The Mae Young Classic, Tristan.
Hey, spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
So, fan base, as we talked about last week, we decided to modify our Ghosts of Wrestling Past segment, and it will be the Ghosts of Wrestling Present. Since, if we're going to steal something, we might as well go full bore with it. And
but it happened last night, so technically it's in the past.
Remember that picture I sent you the other day? I'm making that face.
Wait. So is there a different ghost for the Ghost of Wrestling Present?
All right. So I wonder if I can cut their mics off. We're going to talk about the Mae Young Classic. As we've dropped many times throughout the show, I was at the Thomas and Mack Center last night and got to see the finals live. And they made a pretty big deal out of it. And, rightfully so. It's a pretty big deal. And we decided we were going to take this opportunity, since we kind of skipped it the first week, and we were going to talk about it the second week, and then we decided that we were just going to do it all at once. So, Mae Young Classic, monumental tournament. 32 women from, what did they say, 13 countries, something like that?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Coming together. It never been done before. I think the biggest tournament they ever had for women was 8 women. And those were all women that were active on the roster. This was a split of women that were signed to developmental contracts and women that were not. And some of the matches were stinkers, usually in the first round. Marty Bell and Rachel Evers, stands out as being just an awful match.
Oh, yeah.
But there were also some big winners in that match. Tessa Blanchard versus Kairi Sane.
That could have easily, if the bracketing had been done a different way,
yeah,
that could have easily been the championship.
Well,
match.
okay. So let's just every Kairi Sane match could have been that. Because Kairi Sane beat in succession. She beat Tessa Blanchard, and then she beat
Bianca Belair.
Maybe not that one. But then she
that
beat,
one was kind of garbage.
Yeah. But then she beat Dakota Kai, and then she beat
Toni Storm,
who was one of the favorites.
I will say that was my favorite match of the entire classic.
Yeah.
But that armbar, that one submission hold that Toni Storm had, that just looked painful. I don't know how they pulled that off. how it did. I'm baffled.
Well, so first of all, we decided that we were going to discuss who we picked from the very beginning of the tournament to win the whole thing. I thought Shayna Baszler. I was pretty certain that this was going to be a four horsewoman vehicle to get them going in the WWE. Guys?
I too had Shayna Baszler winning the tournament. And of course, this was before I had seen any of the episodes because we didn't know what they were going to do storyline wise.
Not at all.
You and I talked about that a little bit last night, especially for the championship match where, Shayna was definitely coming off as a heel persona where Kairi Sane was coming off as a face, and I just never thought that they would give the tournament to a heel.
Well, let me just say real quick that I would not be at all surprised if during the dueling chants, if you will, you can actually pick out my voice saying, "Let's go Shayna." When it's like the entire arena saying, "Let's go Kairi," and 4 people saying, "Let's go Shayna."
Oh, yeah.
I would not be at all surprised if I could pick out my own voice in there. 1, because I'm loud, and 2, because, well, there was 4 people.
It's you.
Quite damn.
So who'd you pick, Chad?
I didn't really know all the competitors. I mean, after watching the Dakota Kai match, I said, I think she's got the full potential to win out the entire tournament.
Said Dakota Kai?
Yeah.
You're talking the first match she had with Kavita Devi.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Who she managed to make look quite good despite that being her first wrestling match.
Right. And that was one of the big reasons. And just that kind of lapping boot to the face that she does, where she runs around the ring and boom. When she's standing at the turnbuckles. And
okay, yes, the high boot, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Not the knees to the chest.
Right. Okay, so me and Mike both picked Shayna, probably having known her MMA background a little bit, knowing, and then knowing that Ronda was possibly going to be coming. It all kind of pointed to Shayna Baszler winning.
Well, and then when Shayna helped Nikki Bella develop her new submission move when she was coming back from her neck surgery.
I didn't know all of that. But, I mean, I don't know that necessarily has anything to do with it. But, it's a nice little tidbit that could have pointed to that. I don't know. Kairi Sane, though, as we were watching her through the tournament, I was a believer. I became convinced that they would be going with her to win it. And this girl is something else. Got a chance to see her after the show. And she was just so excited and humble. And she had Funaki with her, basically translating and saying things to us for her.
Okay.
And it was very, very brief. And we were looking at her through a chain link fence. But she just seemed just thrilled. And Shayna, on the other hand, just looked tired. And she was obviously pleased with her effort. You could see it. And, we were talking about hollering out great match and everything. And she said thanks and got into the car and left with Kairi Sane. But the elbow drop this woman does
is a thing of beauty.
The best top rope elbow drop I have ever seen. And, sorry, all due respect, not to speak ill of the dead if that's even speaking ill, but Randy Savage's elbow drop wishes it could be Kairi Sane's elbow drop.
I agree 150%.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. And
it is.
She's just so good at everything she does. You know,
go ahead, sorry.
She's got a I don't know, Japanese people are weird, I guess, because she's got a weird entrance like Nakamura does too. She comes out with that keel,
the ship's wheel.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I love watching her in the ring. Her ring presence is amazing. That elbow is a thing of beauty. I just don't like her character.
What's her character?
Why?
I just, to me, the whole quasi-pirate ship's wheel thing, it just, I don't know.
I don't know that that's actually like her character, though. I think that might just be something that she does. Like Nakamura's character isn't Michael Jackson.
Yeah, no, they kept talking about how she's like a yachtswoman in real life and she loves to sail.
Okay, I couldn't hear any of the commentary, so.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, JR had referenced that several times throughout the tournament.
Oh, okay.
It just, for me, it just, I don't know.
It makes sense to me only because, I mean, you got to think of Japan, Japanese people. Most of their food comes from the sea, sailing. This is just Japanese culture in a way.
It's a gimmick that I don't know. I don't get.
I can appreciate that. Not everything is for everybody. I'm not going to force it down your throat. You're not Chad.
But she's good, though. I mean, I had never seen her wrestle prior to this tournament.
Neither had
I. Never even heard of her. And I saw her gimmick when she came out on the night that they actually did the introduction.
Yeah, when they did the bracketology or whatever it was, the Pretty Champions.
Yeah, and they did it on Facebook.
Yeah.
They did it live. And I saw her, and I just... she
what?
didn't stand out to me when they introduced her.
Yeah.
But boy, the performances that she put on...
Second to none.
Yeah, well, and then they just made the announcement at the tournament that she is going to go and face someone for the NXT Women's Championship.
Right. So, that's cool at TakeOver Houston, which is the night before Survivor Series.
Yes, and so they'll probably do their own NXT Women's tournament to determine...
That would be tight.
I can't wait.
Yeah. See, we were talking about that when they were speculating that the winner would become the NXT Women's Champion. And we said, well, why don't they just do an NXT tournament as well and have the winner face? In fact, I think it was Chad that said that.
I believe so. And it's rare we give him credit, but
I almost stole it, but I believe it was Chad. So let's talk about this. Some of the other big notables in this tournament. You had some real standout performers. Sarah Logan, I loved.
Yes.
Candice LeRae, of course. She was one of the ones that was at the finals. Piper Niven, I really liked. And we were talking about this last night. Our kids, man, like totally digging on Piper Niven.
Taylor loves her.
Yeah, so does Katie.
There's a handful of wrestlers from this tournament that Taylor, and I don't know about Katie's, and we'll have them do their own little
the PWA
later.
Kids deal.
Yeah, on the tournament. But out of this group that she's told me that she really likes,
Abby Lath.
She likes, so go over Katie's and I'll go over Taylor's.
Okay. Well, let's just Abby Lath. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Sarah Logan.
Yep.
Piper Niven.
Yep.
Candice LeRae.
Nope.
She didn't like Candice LeRae. Okay.
It wasn't. Yeah. No.
She didn't stand out to her.
She didn't stand out to her.
She liked Mercedes Martinez.
She did like her. Yes.
She liked who was that real short girl? What was her name?
Oh.
The one.
What country?
Oh, she was an American, I think, but she was the one they actually talked about her being only 5 feet. The
one from Kentucky.
No, that was Sarah Logan.
That was Sarah Logan.
Was it Miranda Salinas?
Possibly.
I know that because Rhea Ripley was the big tall chick.
Yeah, she faced Ripley in the first.
Yeah, then that was who it was. Miranda Salinas. Katie liked her. And then Tessa Blanchard. And, she liked Mia Yim as well.
The other ones that Taylor liked, Taylor loved Dakota Kai.
Oh, yeah, Katie liked Dakota.
Toni Storm.
Yep. And Lacey
Evans. Kyrie
Sane, of course. Kyrie was kind of a given, I think.
Yeah.
That the girls liked her. She also liked Lacey Evans.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think her top two, though, definitely are Dakota Kai and Piper Niven.
Okay. Yeah. Katie, Kyrie Sane, and Piper Niven, I think.
The one thing I'll say about Dakota Kai is I didn't understand her Misty from Pokemon thing that she would do when she get in the ring.
I'm just sure that's something that she did back in New Zealand, and it's just part of the character that she's developed for so many years that it's just second nature now.
The only reason I even remotely know this is because my daughter plays Pokemon Go every single day. When Dakota Kai was wrestling in Shimmer, her original ring name was Eevee, which is actually a Pokemon character.
It's a Pokemon.
Yeah,
all right. She evolved into Vaporeon.
Oh, jeez, Chad.
Oh, the fact that you knew that is probably worse than I watching Cleveland Browns.
Well, I knew it, but I wasn't saying it out loud. Chad, you're 31. 31. Stop it.
I still like Pokemon.
We need to talk about grown-up things like pro wrestling.
After seeing all the matches in the Mae Young Classic, would you, if you could change the brackets around the way they were, would you, after watching the Kairi Sane Blanchard match, would you still have that as the
I would have switched the only matches that I would have switched around is I would have had Kairi Sane. If she was going to face Bianca Belair, I would have had her face Bianca Belair in the first round and face Tessa in the second round. Tessa Blanchard deserved to advance. That's the only change that I would make based off of how things turned out. The story through the tournament of Kairi being like the little engine that could, and Shayna Baszler just absolutely murking people. Going into the finals, they could not have done it better.
By the way, speaking of that counter from Miss LeRae's last ride to Shayna's submission was beautiful.
Yeah. Candice LeRae is a spectacular talent.
Yes.
Shayna Baszler is very good. She's still green, but she's very good. She doesn't have hundreds of matches like Mercedes Martinez, Candice LeRae, Abby Lath, and many others in that tournament. That but to me that doesn't change my opinion of her performance, because she did very well. Everything she did was crisp. I love, that she utilizes submissions and suplexes. And going into the finals, I really liked the story that they told in the match, which was just basically Shayna trying to put Kairi away quickly like she had in all of her other matches. Kairi being able to withstand the assault and outlast Shayna Baszler. Because that's ultimately what happened, is she didn't...
it was a battle of attrition.
It was. And Shayna was done when Kairi got out of the choke.
By the way, it came off well on TV. How was the crowd's reaction in the arena when that happened?
There was a definite deflating of mood when the choke got sunk in. And then she started elbowing her way out of it after being in the choke for almost a minute?
Yeah.
Started elbowing her way out of it, and the crowd went berserk. I'm telling you, dude, when I say that it was the entire arena versus 4 people, I'm not exaggerating.
Wow.
Every single person in that arena, except for a few who were probably fans of Shayna Baszler going back to her MMA days, like I am. And that's not to say that I wasn't cheering for Kyrie. I just wasn't actively cheering for Kyrie. When she won, I don't know if they showed this because it was the side of the arena that was opposite the camera was on their feet from the time she won and did not sit down until they went to 205 Live. And I know I was on my feet giving a standing ovation. I was really surprised like a "you deserve it" chant or something didn't break out. Maybe if it was in more of a wrestling town than Vegas, it would have. I thought about starting one myself, but didn't.
So basically then you're telling me the only people that it seemed like were rooting for Shayna Baszler were yourself, Ronda Rousey, Marina Shafir, and Jessamine Duke.
Yeah, about that.
Okay. And
let me just say something of note that I really that really caught me. It's been long known that Ronda Rousey is a wrestling fan. So, and I told you about this last night, Mike. They introduced the 4 Horsewomen and a few other people during SmackDown. And after that, it seemed like a bunch of the people left and went backstage or whatever. Ronda did not. And Ronda was out there, and then she was out there for the Mae Young Classic, and then all of the women that were out there, you had Medusa, and you had Beth Phoenix, and Dana Warrior. You had the 4 Horsewomen of wrestling, and you had a bunch of people. You had the finalists from the tournament, or the ones that were there. You had Mercedes and Candice and Piper, and a few others. And during 205 Live, Ronda Rousey is still out there. And then during the dark match, Ronda Rousey is still out there. And it just really impressed me that she had the opportunity to be ringside and took it. And is a genuine fan. You could see her. I mean, I could see directly at her from where we were sitting because we were kind of kitty corner from the announce table, and she was right behind the announce table. And I was just impressed that she was more concerned with being a wrestling fan and seeing wrestling than she was concerned about being out among people that could potentially disturb her from enjoying that. That's all.
One thing that I'm still trying to figure out is, and I understood in the earlier episodes, because they've really been pushing, and you know it's just going to be a matter of time, the 4 horsewomen of the WWE versus the horsewomen of MMA.
Yep.
Where has Sasha been during this entire thing?
On Raw.
Once again, she wasn't there last night.
Right. And that has to do with the reason she wasn't there last night is because was in New Zealand or something.
Yeah, she's in New Zealand.
She was for the earlier episodes, but she was just on Raw.
No. She was in New Zealand last night.
Yeah,
The earlier episodes, I don't know why she wasn't there. Maybe they were in England or Japan or I don't know. But she just hasn't been around, and it's been poor timing.
A lot of the wrestlers just from Monday night, they left via helicopter from the arena
to LAX.
to the airport right after their match.
Okay, yeah, because I saw an article dating back to the 15th when they were filming, and they were talking about the original when they were both in the arena, and it says that Sasha was in Australia doing promotional work.
Well, yeah, now she's there for a tour.
Okay, yeah, no, I didn't know.
Which is why she was there on FaceTime. So she has been part of it. She just hasn't been present. And like I say, it's just been timing.
Yeah, and you know, the crowd really has not been too fond of the MMA horsewomen.
I think it's just a case of outsiders.
Yeah,
you know?
that's kind of what you could tell, because like I said, you didn't know at the beginning of the tournament what they were going to do storyline wise and how they were going to develop, you know, the characters and the wrestlers. And man, the crowd just did not like Shayna at all.
And you know,
it just kept
not for nothing, they definitely played up the cocky thing. And remember, they filmed this over the course of 2 days. So it's not like they didn't know immediately where they wanted it to go, because they told you they had to know on day 1 that on day 2 she was going to have her incident with Candace.
Oh yeah.
Which they only did, if you ask me, they only did that because her husband was there. And it was kind of that rub in the face thing.
Oh, definitely.
So,
yeah, no. I mean, great tournament.
I was impressed from beginning to end.
I definitely was. I mean, some good talent, people who have been, I mean, Mercedes Martinez,
yeah,
you know, finally getting that shot after having been in the wrestling industry for 16 years.
Yep.
I mean, there are a few that I can sit here from watching this tournament, and I haven't really looked into all of them to see if they've signed developmental contracts and are going to continue. But for me, at least, the ones that I see sticking around and staying in NXT, Abby Lath, Rachel Evers.
Well, remember, a good chunk of these girls have already been signed. Abby Lath signed early in the year. Sarah Logan's been signed. Lacey Evans. Kairi Singh was even signed prior to the tournament.
Okay.
So.
I think they need to sign, if they already haven't, Dakota Kai.
Jazzy Gabbert.
Yeah, Tony Storm. I would love to see them sign Piper.
I'm pretty sure she signed too.
Yeah, she signed too.
Okay.
I just know. I mean, I know all the names that you just rattled off were signed because, following on Twitter, they all marked themselves as safe during Hurricane Irma and whatnot, and that's right where, I mean, it went right in between Tampa and Orlando, so they got hit by it.
And they've all got WWE Twitter handles.
Okay.
Yeah, that too.
So yeah, no, it's going to be, you know, this tournament itself is going to have an extremely long-lasting effect on both the Raw and SmackDown's women's roster
and NXT.
And NXT. A lot of them are gonna stay down there. But like we had said earlier, this, with the amount of women that they are gonna hold on to from this tournament, and there's a handful they won't. It was a one-time deal. I can see where they might do a spin-off, you know, a la 205 Live for the women. I don't see how you don't continue this.
Go ahead.
No, I don't see how you don't continue with the success of this tournament by not pushing them even more.
Let me tell you my opinion of this entire situation. And you and I have had many a talk going back to the brick wall at my grandma's about how disgusted I was with brawn panty matches, evening gown matches, gravy bowl matches, whatever, because if I wanted to watch porn, I'd just watch porn. And if I wanted, you know, I was watching wrestling and I wanted to see wrestling. And if the women were going to wrestle, I wanted to see them wrestle. I wanted women wrestlers. And this tournament has me very excited about the potential future of women wrestling in the WWE. First of all, we've talked about this a couple of times. The potential of a women's rumble is a huge...
would love to see it.
A huge step up. The possibility of the women truly being a marquee match, if not a true main event at WrestleMania. These are all things that they're tenable now. And they are definite possibilities in the future and the near future at that. I'm very excited. So let's just go ahead. The tournament as a whole, guys, what do you think? I think rousing success. I think that it seems like they're definitely going to make this an annual or, maybe semi-annual thing. Not multiple times a year, multiple years, a couple of years in between or something. But it's definitely going to happen again.
No, definitely.
You know what I could picture them doing? I could picture them alternating the UK tournament with this one. So every other year.
Or the cruiserweights.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, extremely successful. And, I have all girls. I have 3 girls.
Yep,
and,
I've got 2.
Taylor, she's always liked wrestling, but this to me was really fun because I sat there and watched the entire thing with her. Mm-hmm. Michaela
is 4.
Likes violence for some reason. She actually, and it was probably one of the funniest things. I wish I would have had it on video, but when I was for last week when we were going over WrestleMania 13, and the Austin match, it was hilarious listening to Taylor pick up the one time she heard it from JR. Michaela starts screaming, "Get the damn ambulance! Get the damn ambulance! He's bleeding! He's bleeding!"
That's funny.
I mean, it was priceless. But for Taylor, I mean, she's 9 years old, loves wrestling, and for her to have this tournament to watch, it's not just watching the guys and the occasional, token match that she used to get a few years ago before the whole, women's revolution started. This has been a huge success. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching it with her.
Yes.
And it's definitely going to be something that I'm going to look forward to again when they finally decide to do it.
Well, that was part of the reason why I decided to take Katie to this show, is when I read the taping results and saw that the finals were September 12th in Vegas, I was like, well, if there was ever a perfect show for that to be her first show.
Oh, definitely.
So that was a big part of the reason why we went. Chad?
No, we had talked about it before, Tristan, and this has been my favorite tournament that I've seen in WWE. I mean, a lot of great matches. I don't think I can recall a bad match.
I can, but
well, I mean, just
yeah, I know what
you're
trying
to. I can't recall one because there were so many good ones.
Right.
They surpassed the bad ones. And I mean, I'd love to watch it again. I'd love to. I mean, I hope most of those girls got signed on by WWE, and I know a lot of them have. But I would definitely tune in for the next Mae Young Classic.
All right. Best match of the tournament, guys?
I'm going to go with the Kairi Sane, Toni Storm.
Okay. Mike?
It's a toss-up for me. Either Kairi Sane, Tessa Blanchard, or the final last night.
Yeah. I'm of the same mind. I think the final's going to have a little bit more impact on me since I was there, but I think
the prestige of it being the final.
Right. But I think that match quality wise, Tessa Blanchard and Kairi Sane stole the show for sure.
Yeah, they definitely, if that had to be the last match of the first 4 episodes,
it was a good one to make you keep watching, to make you want to watch the next 4.
Oh, God.
For sure.
No, definitely. So,
all right. So, great success. The WWE really stepped it up and really has made some, we'll say, some strides in the right direction as far as progressing with women's wrestling. Next week, we're going to go back to the normal Ghosts of Wrestling Past segment, and Chad has chosen a pretty good match for this next one.
For this week, I've chosen the Iron Man match between Bryan Danielson and Samoa Joe from Ring of Honor Fight of the Century on August 5th of 2006. It can be found on YouTube if you want to watch it. Definitely a great match. I mean, what Iron Man match really isn't a good, fun thing to watch? Yeah, and it gets us a little bit more towards different promotions also,
which we definitely want to do.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. So
from at this point, we're going to jump right into the indie spotlight.
Indie wrestling, 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 indie wrestling.
For this week's Indie Spotlight, I want to introduce you to Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling. Rocky Mountain Pro is probably the biggest independent promotion in Colorado. The promoter is Matt Yaden, who's previously competed in the TNA Gut Check, and he runs the Mercury Pro Wrestling Academy out of Denver, Colorado. And the head of creative for Rocky Mountain Pro is Vince Russo. They started out in 2010 as New Revolution Wrestling, or NRW Pro Wrestling, and then in 2015 they became an NWA affiliate. In 2016, Vince Russo joined the promotion and they rebranded as Rocky Mountain Pro, which they're currently known as today. Rocky Mountain Pro currently has 4 championships: the Rocky Mountain Pro Championship, the Charge Championship, which is their television title, a Tag Team Championship, and a Women's Championship called the Lockettes Championship. They've also got a weekly show called Charged that can be watched on YouTube and on the Fight app. And if you're in the Denver area, and you can catch the next Charged taping on Friday, September 22nd at the Rack House Pub, which is at 2875 Blake Street in Denver, and that show starts at 10 p.m. You can find them online at therockymountainpro.com, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at therockyMTN Pro, and on YouTube, just look for Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling. I'd also like to remind you about this Friday's Lucha Libre and Laughs fundraiser for Nanny AC. Mike talked about it earlier. Remember, it's a free show. It's at Ratio Beer Works in Denver, and it's at 7 p.m. This is a fundraiser for her broken collarbone, and all cash donations will be accepted, and all profits from Lucha Libre and Laughs t-shirts will go to the fundraiser as well. Remember, you can find Rocky Mountain Pro and all of the other great promotions that we've talked about on this show on ProWrestlingAlmanac.com. And if you have any suggestions for independent promotions that we can cover in the future, please let us know. You can email us at ProWrestlingAlmanac@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook at PWAlmanac, and we're also on Instagram, PWAlmanac. It's only with your help that we'll be able to reach our goal of being the largest independent wrestling database on the internet.
And remember, folks, check out the website, ProWrestlingAlmanac.com, Facebook, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PWAlmanac. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please leave a comment telling us what you think.
Also on iTunes and TuneIn Radio.
Also on iTunes and TuneIn Radio now. Thank you. Well, that's it, folks. The ref has given us the 10 count, which means we're done for the night. So until next week, I'm Mike, and for Chad and Tristan, thanks for listening to the Pro Wrestling Almanac podcast, and we'll see you again when the bell rings.